A country full of windmills. There's water in abundance, and the land is low and flat. And it's a fairly small country. You're right. Where else? Holland, of course. Holland, unmistakably, flat as a pancake. But that's what makes its sky so wide. And Holland may be a small country crammed full of souvenirs, but it can certainly look back on a great and glorious past. In the War of Independence back in the 16th and 17th centuries, all that water played a decisive role.
Reeds gepland? Ja, dat wordt gedaan. Ja, dank u wel.
Staged to commemorate a fierce sea battle fought on the old Zuider Zee 400 years ago, a noisy pageant is drawing to a peaceful conclusion. The old trades are a delight to tourists. But although Holland country produce is known the world over, agriculture nowadays is a highly mechanized activity, employing only 7% of the working population. A great many more people are in the metal industry. And the Dutch building trade. In textiles and food, in the chemical industry, and in the production of energy. 1/3 are in health, teaching, and the civil service, and as much as 1/4 in trade and transport. Transport is a story in itself. Holland may be proverbially small, but its network of roads, rail, and navigable waters totals 50,000 miles. First stop, Madeira Dam, a tourist attraction in The Hague, presenting Holland in a nutshell. A small-scale version of a small-scale country. Yet in Holland today, there are something like 14 million people, and however neatly processed and computerized, they number 1,000 to the square mile. Citizens of a welfare state, all the same. In a country with such a close-knit system of roads and waterways, road traffic simply has to go underground now and again, or rather, underwater. A Dutchman at work, and believe it or not, this time he's not making clogs.
En de Spurs.
Really, there's not much to distinguish life in Holland from that in other countries. Except that at night, Dutchmen like to keep their curtains wide open, for all the world to see that tomorrow they'll be having a birthday in the family. Or that it's time to go to bed. A growing population needs more and better accommodation to live, to work, to play. Putting up these towering buildings on the swampy soil of the Netherlands requires a lot of inventiveness and a technical know-how, and the results are a far cry from typical Holland. Sunday morning in Holland. 1/3 of the Dutch are Roman Catholics. 1/3 Protestants. 1/3 never see the inside of a church. But in the smaller communities, Sunday is still the Lord's Day. At the new Van Gogh Museum, visitors are encouraged to develop their creative talents. A unique opportunity for children, but inspiration may come at any age. The world of Vincent van Gogh is only a stone's throw away from the settled Dutch burghers of the 17th century. Right in the middle of Amsterdam's busiest shopping center is a museum telling the story of Amsterdam's past. Turn round a corner and you've stepped right into that past. The people who lived in this city 300-400 years ago, and whose shrewd business sense built up a worldwide network of trade and commerce for the present generation to inherit.
470, 463 for the 6 minutes still.
Fritz, could you give me an idea of what the booking is for tomorrow, 6:12?
To make possible instant decision-making, Dutch business can rely on global communications carried by satellite.
Thank you, Fritz.
Going to stay at 3 or 4 days. Mechanic number?
Holland owes its prominent place to its favorable position at the crossroads of the world, where Western Europe's greatest rivers meet the North Sea, and thus the Atlantic Ocean. Rotterdam Europort gives free access to the world's most highly industrialized hinterland. Equipped with the latest transshipment facilities, Holland is storehouse and distribution center for an enormous consumer market and an ideal exchange for trade with other continents. Holland, the gateway to Europe. By sea through Rotterdam, by air through Amsterdam Airport, one of the world's most up-to-date airports for freight as well as passengers. Home base of KLM Royal Dutch Airlines. Most cattle farmers in Holland specialize in dairy products. Cheese is a favorite food to the Dutch, and judging by the export figures, to millions of non-Dutchmen as well. Holland's contribution to international passenger aircraft production is also considerable. The Fokker Friendship and Fellowship are designed for the most efficient operation of national and regional networks. But work is work, and a Dutch bicycle calls for as much workmanship as an aircraft. There's even one export product destined to leave the Earth for outer space. A new satellite for astronomical research is the Dutch contribution to space investigation. Whether reaching for the stars or keeping within a safe distance from the ground, life on Earth will have to be safeguarded from suffocation. Amsterdam is experimenting with the electrically driven self-drive taxi. A promising and quite comfortable way to keep the city from being congested by cars and the air we breathe from being polluted. A life expectancy of 74 years is in store for a baby born in Holland today, thanks to good social and medical care. Advanced professional and university training benefit a nation and enable it to share what it has with others. At the Agricultural University, students from the Third World study ways to improve their food production at home. As a supplier of seed potatoes, Holland is as renowned the world over as it is for its bulbs and flowers, every spring on display at Keukenhof, in the middle of the bulb district. And there's the water. The water is there to sail on, a rather pleasant way to admire all that beauty. Water, friend and foe of the Dutch. Today, it's only a friend, now that the country is secure behind its strong dikes. And large parts of the sea have been reclaimed into fertile new soil. But the traditionally Dutch can still be found along a city canal, in an old-fashioned neighborhood bar, where the beer is good and visitors can meet the Dutch. At home, so to speak. The same intimacy and informality can be found at a happy royal occasion, celebrated without much pomp, but festive all the same. Holland is a constitutional monarchy, home of 14 million individualists, more than 1,000 to the square mile. If that isn't the right soil for democracy, what is? Yes, there's a lot of people, all right. But that doesn't mean to say that there aren't any quiet spots left in Holland. But then, the more the merrier. The Dutch are only too pleased to receive their friends from abroad and give them a colourful welcome. A welcome that's unmistakably Dutch.